Hello, here we are in beautiful Skopelos. Are you enjoying it? It's great, isn't it? I hope you can see me. It's now sunny. We've now got beautiful weather finally. So it's so good to be with you, intrepid viewers. And what a week in American politics it has been. So we've had the leak of the Alito draft, ditching Roe versus Wade like it never existed. So we'll definitely be looking at that. But we can't go any further, any deeper into this video. The first item I saw this morning on my news feed, I think it's from Indiana, where this guy, Andrew Wilhoit, who is in jail as we speak, having allegedly murdered his wife, has made it through to the next round of the GOP primaries. What is that? And they're saying, oh, well, innocent until proven guilty. Totally. I'm an advocate of that principle by all means. However, you think it would have been enough to push him into the back row, but no, it's not. Despite the fact he took the police to show them where her body was, which is a fair indication this trial is not going to go well for him. So we can't be shocked anymore, can we? We always knew this was on the agenda. It's all an attempt, as one viewer described it, to create a Christian caliphate. And that's absolutely true. It's not just right-wing Christianity. It's not just prosperity gospel. It's 19th century repressive, deeply religious stuff that's actually nothing to do with religion. No. It's all to do about controlling the population and controlling women. It's just an absolute scandal. Total scandal. So, yeah, we all knew it was in the wings, and I think it's kind of good it's come out. So hopefully it will be an issue, which is my question. Will it be a decisive issue in the midterms? I hope so, but we've got to remember also there's now two sub-generations of young women who in most states have had access to at least reproductive health issues. Now, I used to work for family planning in Australia, which is your Planned Parenthood. Now, the thing is, when a government, a progressive government comes in and introduces safe, legal abortion, what happens? Abortion rates go down. Now, why do they go down? They go down because if there's such a government, it usually means they fund contraception as well and good sex education. Now, we know with these delirious Harper Valley PTA parents, you're not going to get good sex education at school, but at least you could still have contraception. We also know they're not interested in the babies once they appear. These are the same people who don't vote for school lunches for poor kids. You know, the hypocrisy. So I want to have a good look at will it be decisive? And it's important, once again, yet another topic, to have young people on board. We also know this is the thin end of the wedge. If they get away with this, next it's LGBTQI rights. They'll come after same-sex marriage, all of it. But we've got to remember, intrepid viewers, from what I learned about the founding fathers, who didn't seem to have wives or mothers, you know, but anyway, the founding fathers, the very guts of America was to be founded for freedom of religion, to worship how you want, and freedom from religion. That's the separation of church and state. In other words, so you don't have any particular Christian body telling you how to make laws. They should be a voice at the table, but not the end game. Otherwise, what have you got? You've got the Taliban with a Christian face. It's absolutely appalling. So, Roe versus Wade, will it be a big issue at the election? Oh, God. Will people really get it? Will people get it? Let's have a look. Oh, it's very murky. All right. All right, all right, all right. You know what? From this central card here, which is the Four of Cups, this is something being offered to you that you're not mad about. In a way, I think the Dems, and by the Dems, I mean the hardcore number crunching Dems behind the scene, they didn't actually want this. I don't know why they didn't want it, but they didn't. But now they've got it. So that changes the ball game, right? It changes the ball game here. So it's a very emotional issue, emotions overflowing with this, absolutely overflowing. What's the conversation going to be about in this sense? We really know they're going to lie, they're going to do everything. It's really unclear. But the moon, just as with this Ace of Cups, is a very feminine card. And it's not just about the shrouding of things in mystery and secrecy. It's about the very core of the feminine principle in nature. So it's like we should be looking after the mothers. You know, these people who say it's my freedom not to wear a mask, and yet they're happy for a 14-year-old to carry the rapist baby, right? We've got to start looking after mothers. And this is saying to me, the Dems should be reclaiming the ground by talking positively about mothers, that every child should be a wanted child. We are here to support the mothers, but we are also here to represent choice. Talk about mothers. Don't be afraid of that. I think they're afraid of this issue, right? And I'll just remind you, dearest intrepid viewers, having worked in the equivalent of Planned Parenthood, statistically, the majority of women who have abortions are 25 and over, and they're married women with children. That's who actually has them. So they've got to speak up. They've got to take this out of the realms of mystery and speak up. The King of Swords. So I think legally it actually won't get over the line. I think the law will hold, particularly as my outcome card is the Lover's card here, which is good for pacts and agreements and consensus. So I don't think it will be dismantled on our watch, but that's not to say any of us can relax for 1 minute. No, we can't. But again, they should be talking about contraception and young people's right to contraception. Take it away from the termination issue and put it as a family planning issue, right? They can critique the GOP for saying you're bringing in these draconian laws, but where are the laws for child support from these men? You know, actually talk about people, talk about real situations, and talk about what people can relate to on the ground. It's really important. That's one of the things I'll read on next. So I want to come back to Garland for a minute, and I want to talk about Dems messaging into the midterms, because I think you'll all basically agree with me. The messaging is not their strong suit, and it needs to be. Get fresh faces out there, you know. Okay, so I want to look at Merrick Garland because I just saw he has come out and said, should the worst come to the worst and that leaked draft change of law comes through, the DOJ will fight for women's rights. Well, I hope so, Merrick. Let's have a look at Merrick Garland in relation to this issue. If they come forward, will the DOJ really fight for women? Will the DOJ really fight for women? Will the DOJ really fight? Okay, they do realise it's massively important. He realises it's massively important. The Page of Swords, I'm thrilled to see the Page of Swords here. This is the young person taking up the sword. I think he can put his finger to the wind and suss out, and this is actually a female page, that there is momentum around this issue, and it would be a complete travesty to revoke it. That's why I'm pleased it's out, you know, so people don't rely on the GOP to do the decent thing ever, because they never, never, never do. They don't. I'm also pleased to see the Temperance card, which is balance, wisdom and reason and all those things that are sensible. This is a fateful issue. To answer my question, this is the card. This is the Wheel of Fortune, saying the Wheel of Fortune of the Democrats actually does rest on this issue. Not on its own, but it does come down to this. But it's how they put that message across. So this is huge. This is the Karma card for America and the Death card following it. And this is a huge card. This question got 3 major arcana cards out of 4. So that in itself tells me it's a big issue. Right. And so the Death card is having to fight for it again. I think people will revisit the issue, and they'll revisit it in a new way. So please don't make it about terminations of pregnancy alone. It's a much bigger issue. If they can do that, they will secure their own political future if they get this issue right. If they get it right. Oh, God. So it's massively important. Massively, massively important. So the Dems, goodness me, they need to do some homework. Look, and the old season campaigners, they need to not be the face of the Democrats going forward. Get out the Connor Lambs, you know, get out the Buttigiegs, get out the Katie Porters. They need to get younger people talking to their peers to go forward. The Dems need to sharpen up their act. Mary Trump, as most of you will know, does her own podcast now, and her most recent one was very, very good on what the Dems should be doing. And please don't think I'm Dem bashing. I'm only harping on this because it's so important for this victory. We all know the future of America rests not on 2024, but on these midterms. So we want to see big numbers in these midterms. Just generally too, the district attorney or the DA of Georgia is doing a good job looking at election fraud, the real election fraud, etc., etc. So full marks to Georgia for taking that on. So now we're looking at Dems messaging. Will they get their act together between now and the midterms? Dems messaging. Dems messaging. Okay. That's interesting. All right. So here we have the Nine of Pentacles. With this card, I'm a bit concerned to see this in the middle, in the sense this is sort of resting on your laurels. This is someone who actually does already have a good education, who understands complex issues and so on. I'm sorry, that's not the majority of your demographic. And this to me sums up the problem. They're pitching their responses at a level of someone who's got 20 minutes or 2 hours to understand the issues will understand. No, you have to get it out in a sound bite in the modern world. This concerns me. Okay, past attitudes and past actions. They've with the High Priestess, they've already let the GOP, represented here by the devil. How surprising. Thank you, Tarot, for just making that crystal clear. They're not being clear in their response. Every time some nutcase GOP person comes up, whether it's Marjorie Taylor Greene saying NATO's a Nazi organization, whatever, they need someone other than commenters on Twitter who do it very cleverly. Why not employ some of them? They need to smack that down. You don't need Biden, Pelosi, Kamala Harris. You don't need the big guns to be responding to everything, but you want to make them afraid, very afraid, by what you're going to do next, and call them out on this behavior, on their greed. For example, just on a really simple level, they could denounce Trump every day of the week. He came in promising big, beautiful healthcare. Where is it? He didn't do that for you, right? Tell people that, remind them. He was going to bring back manufacturing jobs by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. He didn't do it. Spell it out. Say it. You know. And then what you are going to do, here's the Ten of Pentacles, how to distribute wealth, how to distribute money. So the obvious things, staringly obvious, you're going to have to subsidise low-income people and the elderly for fuel bills in the future, in this winter that's going to come. So make sure you do that, and you can explain where the money's going to come from for that. And wavering student debt, which will also secure you many millions of votes. How are you going to pay? You're going to pay by reinstituting the taxes, for example, of the wealthy that were taken away by Trump. Them understand 1% of the population has all the wealth. Start talking about that. They're so afraid of the progressive agenda, but the progressive agenda is just real world agenda, making it really simple. Let AOC off the leash. Let these different ones off the leash and explain. Remember, Clinton used to have that system, it was called pay go. So trying to demonstrate yet again, Democrats are responsible with the economy. We want to spend this, we're going to pay for it by that. Spell it out. Coming up here, the energy going into the midterms is the Queen of Swords. So this will be all those conversations, all those debates, but again, forefronting women, because if you look after the women, they in turn look after the boys. They look after the men, and they will make it a better world make better men as a counterbalance for good women, right? So it's a win-win for this. But swords are the intellect, swords are ideas. They need new ideas. They so need a Frank Underwood. from House of Cards who play dirty. They need a Frank Underwood who's playing dirty, but they also need fresh faces. The ones I've already named, particularly Katie Porter, can explain how people are getting shafted by the system every day of the week. She can do it. Give her 5 minutes a day, please. Buttigieg can speak to the Christians about how unchristian it is to demonize your gay relatives and community members. These people are really good at this stuff. Let them out. Let them out. So they're at a crossroads. Are they going to go with the old way and just waffle on about big, important things? It's not that they waffle about rubbish things. They always talk about important things. But even January 6th, massive as it is, that's not on the forefront of people's minds. When they sit down at the dinner table, or more likely in front of their screen to shovel in, gallons of plastic food, they're thinking domestic economy issues. You've got to capture that space because interest rates are going to go up. There is going to be inflation. So this is a global phenomenon, and we know on this channel we're perfectly upfront and understand that most Americans are not engaged with what's happening in the rest of the world. So it's going to seem like an American issue. It's going to seem like a Biden issue. It's going to seem like a Democrats issue. They have to get on the front foot now, not backpedaling. Front foot now. Anticipate that, and then tell the people what you're going to do to make their lives easier. Talk up the economy that you have been responsible for, not what you can't control, where you have created new jobs. Right? It's not rocket science. It doesn't need an Australian tarot reader. I'm reflecting what I get in the comments from you guys. You know it. And people are holding their heads going, oh, damns, smack them down. Grit those teeth. Now, having said all that, I want to talk about you guys and your own mental health and well-being in these months leading into the midterms. I think, excuse me, so important. So important. Do not lose faith. Do not lose heart. You have to look after yourselves and reinforce all the positive things in your own life and in those around you. It really makes a difference. And so think now, some of you I know are already very active in your own localities or your own districts politically. So if you're not, don't succumb to paralysis of thinking, oh, it's too big, I can't bear it. That's the right-wing noise machine takes up the space. They're actually not the majority. They're not. So please find ways to ally yourselves with something positive. Find an organisation doing great work and lend them your skills and your time. A few hours a week, a few hours a month, a donation, driving people places where they need to be. Find a way to contribute and you will feel better. You will feel so much better, and you meet like-minded people, and that reinforces the zeitgeist. So it goes out. I just remembered, I'm not finished yet. Putinchka. Let's have a quick look at Putin. Every reader I know has said Putin's not well, Putin's not well. Now, it's starting to be talked about that he is undergoing cancer treatment now. And so he has to put someone in to run the war while he's having treatment. Now that tells us two things. It tells us that it's quite urgent or he would not be doing it right now. And two, who is this person going to be and what are they going to do? So I want to have a look at that. What does Putin's illness mean for Russia? What does Putin's illness mean for Russia? What does illness mean for Russia and the world? Putin's illness. All right. Oh, that's who he's going to get in. All right. Now, not surprisingly, this is saying to me he's going to put in a hard man, an absolute mercenary who'll stop at nothing. It will be a military type person, I think, as opposed to a purely political appointment, possibly a general or someone like that. But this is interesting. The Three of Wands, which is surveying over the waters, waiting for the ship. This person's going to look at the landscape of what's going on really in the Ukraine. This person also knows, on one level, Putin's heart is already broken, even though his nearest and dearest are lying to him and telling him it's going well. He's not stupid. He may be deluded, but that doesn't mean he's stupid. This is heartbreak for Putin. This person will continue to defend Putin's ideology, like it's someone who agrees with him, however, not with how he's doing it. I saw a Russian guy interviewed recently. He was Putin's prime minister 20 years ago, and he was saying 20 years ago, Putin actually agreed and let him go ahead with quite a few reforms in terms of opening the economy, certain degree of personal freedom of expression for people, not independent media, but progress. And he was saying in the last 10 years, he's gone into this quite mad, delusional state. So this person, the mercenary he will put in to act for him, will defend Putin's dream in his own way. I think this is not necessarily good news. You know, this is someone who's just as savage as Putin. Check this out, King of Cups. I've drawn another card, but this is temperance. Because when this plays out, and we're probably talking through May, there is room for more discussion with the temperance card. With the King of Cups, which is Biden, I think this person may speak with Biden. So here's what I think. I think in Ukraine, it'll get worse before it gets better. And there will be, I have a feeling, because I woke up yesterday morning with the shudders, I think even this week there's going to be some movement, you know, the taking of one of the cities, or some really bad casualties or something. I don't think this is going to be a good week for the Ukraine. I hope I'm wrong. But although he's going to take the fight on, he's not quite as delusional. And so there will be some conversations. These will be back channels, I'd imagine. We may or may not hear about them. There will be back channels to Biden. And it might be offering something, you know, both ways. We'll see. We will see. All right, my dear hearts. I'll see you next time. And in the meantime, I'm off to the mainland tomorrow, and then I'm coming back to Skopelos. and I'll see you then. So you take care. There's so much glare here, I can't even see the button to turn it off. So consider this video done, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao. Here I am. What is happening? Where is it? I can't see anything. Lena mumbling. I'll have to go inside to turn it off. Stop recording.